Welcome in. It is a Thursday edition of the Sports Huddle on SEMO ESPN Radio, 1220 AM, 93.5 on the FM dial, and you can always find us online at SEMOESPN.com. Eric Sean in the Yuengling Sports Huddle Studios. Yuengling, the iconic American lager, America's oldest brewery, Yuengling, and hang tight. Coming up at about 9:35 this morning. We're going to be talking it over with SEMO men's basketball coach Brad Korn, fresh off a brand new 2-year contract, actually 3-year contract extension. His extension now will keep him under contract with the Red Hawks through April 30th of 2030. So Coach Korn going to join us coming up. I'll be flying solo in this show, so you and I can chat on the EBOMD Huddle Hotline. Here's the number, 573-334-1220, 573-334-1220, the Huddle Hotline, and it's powered by EBOMD. So it is turning into a story of another day, another loss, another shutout loss for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's starting to be a little bit alarming with this offense. I've got some interesting numbers about why this is such a feast and famine offense. In other words, scoring runs is something that they do quite often, and then they go through these stretches. Now, this is an extreme stretch where starting last Wednesday through yesterday, so you're talking about a span of 1 week, they got shut out 5 times. The final 2 games against the Cubs at Busch, and then in all 3 games against Pittsburgh. 1976. What were you doing in 1976? Remember that year? The bicentennial? Had the bicentennial quarters. 1976, that's a long time ago. And that's the last time the Pittsburgh Pirates swept a 3-game series from the Cardinals and did not allow a single St. Louis run. That's what happened. It was 5-0, the final score yesterday, and it was Sonny Gray on the losing end. And you just get to the point now where if you just go break down the Cardinals' offense, okay, it is 8 times they have been shut out this year. But they've also scored 1 run or less 22 times. 22 times they've scored 1 run or less. Offensively, on the positive side, 43 times the Cardinals have scored 5 runs or more. That's third most in Major League Baseball. So if you're looking at that stat, you say, this has been a pretty good offense. 9th in Major League Baseball in runs per game. You're top 10. That's certainly good enough. It is these drastic swings, however, that are certainly frustrating for Cardinal fans and frustrating, I know, for Oliver Marmol, for the players. So to put numbers to it, 43 times they have scored 5 or more runs. Only the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks have more games this year scoring 5 or more runs than the Cardinals. However, scoring 1 run or less, they have done that 22 times. The only teams that have done it more than the Cardinals, the Rockies, the White Sox, the Rangers, and the Royals, and then the Cardinals. So it is a big extreme right now for St. Louis. If there was not a rule in place for Major League Baseball that there has to be one all-star selection from every team. Would the Cardinals have an all-star? Now, I'm talking about in their everyday lineup right now. Brendan Donovan, is he an all-star? Would that be the closest player that the Cardinals have to an all-star? I'm not talking about pitchers. Would it be Donovan? Wilson Contreras is having a decent season. I mean, it's not like Contreras is putting up massive numbers. It's a 761 OPS for Wilson Contreras. But it's not a great year. He's slugging .421. Do they have some nice players? Sure they do. Do they have any all-stars? I don't know that you can say that. Let's head to the EBOMD Huddle Hotline number. Good morning. You're on the Sports Huddle. Who's this?
Hey, Eric. This is Bob.
Hey, Bob.
I just spoke to my mom this morning, and she was pretty upset about things. She said, Bob, of course, we're playing the Pirates are in last place, and we're on this streak. And I said, Mom, remember how we talked about fair weather fans? I said, these guys are all professional baseball players. I said, yes, if you listen to my local ESPN, this man is very knowledgeable, and I tell you what, he understands and realizes that we're up and down. We're very much up and down. We score so many runs, then we can't score runs, and then our pitching is good, our pitching is bad. You just noted that who would we have on the All-Star team? Nobody. We wouldn't have anybody on the All-Star team unless they pick Sonny Gray as a pitcher. That would be the only non-fielder, that other than that, I mean, but I am surprised. I mean, everybody talked it up after they were 8 games up, over 500, and now they're like, well, what do you do? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answer. But I look at it. I think I'm tickled that they're where they're at right now. I mean, if you look in the MLB standings, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in the American League that have a better record, and before they slumped and got the crap beat out of them by Pittsburgh. But actually, I think they can make a run. I don't know what they're going to have to do, and I don't know. As far as trading and things like that, and hey, can we bump something up later in the year and get another strong arm in there, or do we get a big bat in there? What's your idea, Eric?
Well, I think they need to acquire a bat.
A bat? You think a bat?
I think they need a bat. They're not probably going to make a splashy move. They're going to have to decide in the front office if they think they're a playoff team, if they think they're a team that can make some noise in the playoffs, or they just may stand pat. In terms of starting pitching, you would think that at some point Michael McGreevy is going to be inserted in there, and they'll just have to make some sort of a decision on Eric Fetty because it's just not working right now with Fetty.
And why Miles Michaelis is hanging on by his fingernails?
Yeah, you never know. Every time that he goes out, you don't know what you're going to get from Miles.
But they win. They won 9 straight games that he started at one point, but he only won 1 game or 2 games. I'm thinking, oh my gosh! But I said he's a lucky charm. What I told my mom was, I said, Mom, you know what? If you do 6 innings. And if you can go 6 innings, that's a quality start. If you give up, and she said, oh, okay. I said, that's what he is there for, period. That's the only thing he's there for. He's not going to kill everybody. He's not going to win 20 games. He's not going to win 15. He's not going to win 12. I said, he needs to eat up innings, get quality starts, and he's the oldest guy on the team, I guess, isn't he? I think he's the oldest player on the team.
Yes, he is.
And what about Sonny Gray? Is he 34 or 35?
Let's see.
My nephew got drafted in 2005, I think. Well, anyway, he played minor league ball with Sonny Gray, and he played traveling baseball when they were like in teenagers.
Yeah, Sonny Gray is 35. He'll turn 36 in November.
Yikes! So I mean, but still, he could have 10 or 12 wins easily. Easily, he could have 10 or 12 wins easily. He's kept them in a lot of ball games. Now, yesterday, yeah, granted, I didn't really actually hear the game or see the game. But
he only gave up 4 runs. He wasn't terrible, and they got 3 of those runs late in his final inning before he ended up leaving. So going into the final inning that he pitched yesterday, he'd only given up 1 run, and that was in the second inning. Hey, Bob, appreciate the call.
The way it sounded, though, let me one real quick thing, Eric.
Yep.
The way it sounded, they kind of hung him out to dry a little bit there. It sounded like they got a hit. He already pitched 7 in the third, so that's a get him out of there. Get him out of there. We're already losing. Get him out of there. Then a single. So that's how he ended up giving up all the runs, I think.
You could have gone to the bullpen a little bit earlier. I think he showed a little trust in Sonny Gray, and consider, you've got an off day today, so you have a chance. Right. Yeah, you have a chance to give these guys a day off tomorrow, so going to the bullpen early is not going to be the worst thing. Bob, thanks for the call. We always appreciate hearing from you.
All right, buddy. I'll give you guys a call again.
All right.
Take care.
Appreciate it. 334-1220 is the EBOMD Huddle Hotline number, 334-1220. So, developing homegrown players, bringing them up, and having them be impact players. In terms of all-star caliber players, I mean, I don't know that you have an all-star on this team in terms of an offensive position player, do you? Now, do they have some nice players? Brendan Donovan's a nice player. He's a winning player. He's having a good year. Mason Wynn is an exciting young player for the Cardinals, but if you're talking about Mason Wynn, first of all, it's a deep shortstop pool in Major League Baseball. And if you're talking about a highlight for Mason Wynn, it's usually something he does with a glove and then shows off the electric throwing arm. Nice player. He's not an all-star, and he's not an impact offensive player, at least not yet. Jordan Walker, at one point, was the number 1 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. Now he's in his 3rd season, and it's his worst season. Does that mean you give up on Jordan Walker? Nobody's saying that. Just talking about their offensive players. And how much of a shuffle has it been the last several years for this front office to put an outfield together? How many mix and match different outfielders are the Cardinals going through year after year? In terms of offensive production, OPS, slugging percentage, the St. Louis Cardinals offense ranks 25th out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball. They just don't really have impact players. And when you talk about guys who impact the lineup up and down Major League Baseball rosters, oftentimes those guys come from the outfield. Cardinals really don't have that. Victor Scott, excellent speed, excellent defensive player. He's a below-average offensive player. Lars Nootbaar shows flashes, but he's also tend to slumps. There is not a hitter that's not slump-proof. That's not what I'm saying. Alec Burleson, yes. Good, solid player. Not at an all-star caliber level. I mean, they just do not have an all-star caliber player. They do not have an impact star hitter. And you go down the list, and there are a lot of teams in Major League Baseball that have 2 or 3 of those guys. I mean, just look at the team that the Cardinals are chasing in the NL Central. Getting ready to head to Wrigley Field. So they're going to play the Cubs. The Cubs have 3 of those guys. Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong is having a magnificent season, and Seiya Suzuki. Those 3 players are better than any hitters the Cardinals have on their roster. All 3 of them. Cardinals have some nice players, but they do not have that one impact all-star guy. Might Ivan Herrera turn into that guy? He's trending in that direction. And even when you talk about a guy like Brendan Donovan, excellent season that he's putting together, He has a 785 OPS. That is good. He's hitting 293, and that is a very high batting average in these days in Major League Baseball where there are just a handful of 300 hitters. At the end of a season, go back and look how many guys hit 300 in each league. It's a handful in each league. It'll surprise you. You just don't see many 300 hitters anymore. And as good as Donovan is, when there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound, Brendan Donovan is hitting 208. Against righties, he's got an OPS of 880. That is excellent. Against lefties, his OPS is 600. The average OPS for a major league hitter, and again, OPS, on base plus slugging, that is OPS. The average OPS for a major league hitter is 712. Okay, your league average. Against left-handed hitters, Brendan Donovan's OPS is 600. I'm not downgrading Donovan. He's a good player. He's a winning ball player. You want to have Brendan Donovan on your team. Now he's playing second base. He can play all the infield positions, and obviously he can play in the outfield. So we just gave you the outfielders. It's Newt Barr. It's Victor Scott. It's Jordan Walker. And it is Alec Burleson. Right now, Nolan Arenado is on pace for his lowest production in his career. He is no longer an elite player. He is no longer an all-star player. You wish that he was, but that's not who he is now. That's why teams aren't lining up to go get Arenado. He could still play defense, but offensively, right across the board in terms of his numbers, lowest output of his career this year, 34 years old. Has had a great career, and if you go start looking at all the numbers, he is likely headed to the Hall of Fame. Guys with his numbers, especially at third base, which is the least populated position in the Hall of Fame, by the way. Did you know that? There are fewer third basemen than any other position. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But other than that, who are the impact guys on this team? Even though they have their moments where they look very good offensively. I told you, 43 games, 5 or more runs. Only the Dodgers and Diamondbacks have done it more. But then it's 22 games with 1 run or less. And now you're in the company of the Rockies and the White Sox. So you see just exactly what they've done over the last week. Okay? The 2 wins over the Cubs, they scored 8 runs in each game. And you're like, all right, this is more like it. Remember the 4 2-home run games the Cardinals put together in the first game against the Cubs? They had 4 2-run homers in that game. Next day, they put up 8 more runs. And you're thinking, all right, got a chance to win the series. Then you're shut out and you're shut out. And to back up the stats that I gave you, 5 or more runs 43 times, 1 or less runs 22 times. Right after they got shut out twice by the Cubs. Then they go to Cleveland, sweep that series, and average 7 runs per game in those 3. And then they get shut out 3 in a row. So we're not talking the sky is falling and they're falling out of the race. Right now, they are in a flat-footed tie with the San Diego Padres for the 3rd and final wild card slot. The Padres are barely ahead of the Cardinals. Their winning percentage, .535, Cardinals .534. So basically, they're in a flat-out tie with the Padres for the 3rd wild card with the Giants, who are in a free fall. They did win yesterday. They've lost 7 of 10. They're a half game back. And the Reds, who've won 6 of 10, are a game and a half behind the Cardinals. So they're still right there. But these are big games in Chicago. They need a day off. They just went through a stretch where they played 15 games in 14 days. If there's a team in Major League Baseball that needed an off day, it's today. You had been shut out twice by the last-place Pirates. And Marmol was forced to sit Contreras, hit by a pitch in the hand, forced to sit Arenado, sore hand, in a freak accident. He's just running down the first base line, pumping his arms, and his index finger jams on his leg while he's running. and so both of those guys, too sore to play yesterday. It happens. But it just also coincides with you're trying to avoid a third straight loss. You're trying to avoid being shut out for a third straight time. So the pitching matchups coming up in Chicago starting tomorrow. And again, it's a 1:20 game tomorrow, but it's Apple TV Plus. So keep that in mind if you want to watch the game. Obviously, the game's going to be available on radio, but it'll be Miles Mikolas versus Colin Ray. Then you've got the Saturday game, another 1:20 first pitch. Matthew Liberatore, Jamison Tyone, and unless they find some injury for Eric Fetty and put him on the injured list, he's scheduled to pitch on national television, ESPN, Sunday night. It's actually a 5:10 first pitch, but that'll be the Sunday night baseball game against left-hander Matthew Boyd, who ate the Cardinals' lunch when they played at Busch Stadium. So that's what you've got, Mikolas, Liberatore, Fetty. So you've got your two worst starting pitchers scheduled to go in the series against the Cubs. So we'll see how it goes. But it is a much-needed day off today for St. Louis. Were you following the proceedings at Dodger Stadium last night? Clayton Kershaw making history, becoming the fourth ever left-handed pitcher to get to 3,000 strikeouts.
The ravine rises, ready to erupt. The 20th pitcher in baseball history. The fourth left-handed pitcher, but only the third to record 3,000 career strikeouts with one team. Clayton Edward Kershaw.
He's had a great career. He's walking to the Hall of Fame, Clayton Kershaw. If you were not watching that game or you haven't seen the highlight, if you don't think up in the moment, just like players and fans, everybody was standing at Dodger Stadium. They knew it was on the line, strikeout number 3,000. That pitch was at least 2 inches off the plate. He's going to get the 3,000 strikeout, most likely last night. But that was not a strike. It is a great career for Clayton Kershaw, so congratulations to him. Oh, by the way, they beat the White Sox. Oh, by the way, they needed 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth inning to do it. Freddie Freeman with the walk-off. So they score 3 in the bottom of the ninth to beat the Chicago White Sox. All right, we're going to be talking some Red Hawk basketball. It's the Sports Huddle on SEMO ESPN Radio, 1220 AM, 93.5 on your FM dial and online at SEMOESPN.com. We're broadcasting from the Yuengling Sports Huddle Studios. Yuengling, the iconic American lager. They're America's oldest brewery, Yuengling. And we are headed to the EBO MD Huddle Hotline, where SEMO men's basketball coach, reigning OVC Coach of the Year, Brad Korn, joins us. Coach, I saw you the other day in that high-dollar ride that you have. I'm not saying you got a contract extension, but it does appear there are signs.
I'm not quite sure where you saw me. But you know what? After being 5 years completed and a little bit of winning, I guess it's kind of hard to hide in Cape Toronto, especially when you're as tall and ugly as I am.
So that has to feel good that the school approaches you and says, hey, we really appreciate what you are doing for this athletic department, where the program is, and we would like you to stay here through 2030.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you pretty much just summed it up right there, Eric. I mean, it's, I've always tried to live by the motto of that I'm not, I don't coach or do anything in my life to prove people wrong. It's more so to just prove people right. And I just want to keep doing a good job for the administration and SEMO, the opportunity that it has provided me as a selfish person to be a head coach and then get that opportunity and do well with it and then have people respect you and honor that by wanting you to continue. That to me is what it's all about. And then we get to still impact young people through the game of basketball, which is also what it's all about. And probably one thing that I didn't realize more than ever, Eric, what it does, I think, is for our current players, their parents and their families feel good about that as well. So a lot of positives that go into that, and it's all a byproduct of winning. But it's also a lot of work that we started way back in 2020. So it feels good. It's a great thing. It's a feel good time, feel good moment. The program I feel is healthy and not broken, and so I just think that we've done a great job, and we look forward to continuing to build on that.
I think it's interesting if people look back about your transition from being an assistant coach to a head coach. All right, this is going to be your 6th season once we toss the ball up into the air in November. And so 6 years ago, you're at Kansas State. You're an assistant coach for Bruce Weber. How much the game of coaching, the entire landscape of college basketball has changed since you got your head coaching job. First of all, no one had ever had to deal with a pandemic, ever. And you get the job during a pandemic. You can't even bring guys on campus to recruit them. I mean, if you're talking to guys, you're FaceTiming them. So that's different than anything you've ever been through and watching Bruce Weber and the coaches that you worked under. And then secondly, here comes NIL. Here comes a thing called the transfer portal. Guys don't have to sit out a year when they transfer. And you've got to adapt, improvise, and overcome like the Marines all of the sudden with no track record or any kind of a resume. Oh, yeah, we went through this back when I was at Kansas State or when I was at SIU. You had nothing like that to fall back on, and you just have to adapt and go forward. How much of a challenge has it been since you've become a head coach? I'm not. You've done a wonderful job. They've got you under contract now, so that tells everybody how much of a good job they feel that you have done. That was a long question, but how about this transition to where college basketball is now than when you were last an assistant at Kansas State?
Yeah, that's pretty in-depth, Eric, and pretty accurate. The game has changed a ton from the way that it was played even back when I played. Guys like myself now are pretty popular type players. Back when I was playing, the stretch forward guy wasn't as valuable. He was setting more screens. So the game has changed just on the court. And then, of course, it's flipped upside down off the court, from recruiting to movement even within players and staff, and just a lot more firings. It's gotten obviously a lot more professional, a lot more. I like to say we used to be in a microwave society, and now we're in a light switch society. It's on off. There's no longer even time to wait for your food to get warm in the microwave. It's just turn the light on, turn the light off. Did we win? Did we lose? So again, going back to the appreciation for SEMO and that they value what we've done, because there's been some struggle seasons to go with those good ones, but there's been a true appreciation, I think, for the way that we've gone about it, because it has changed every single year that I've been here. And I think the way that I can answer that question, Eric, is two ways. One is you sit here and you say, as a young person or even as an assistant at K-State, man, I just need an opportunity. I know I can be a good head coach. I got blah, 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 blah. And then you get that opportunity. You can't then wake up every single day and complain about the things that you don't have or what's going on around you. So I've tried to keep a pretty good perspective on, hey, all this stuff's going on. You woke up today. You get to be the head coach. What are you going to do? And that's kind of helped to keep away the distractions and maybe the the doom and gloom of what athletics looks like. And, also we've been very blessed with just great families and players and staff. Like, I truly, truly enjoy coming to work every day and working with our guys. Like, I don't care that there's a SE in front of the Missouri on my polo. I have an opportunity to do a good job here with good people at a good place. It's my responsibility to honor that and work towards that. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But we have great families of our players, and I have a great staff, and I'm able to keep those players and keep the staff by and large because of the administration. And again, they believe in what we're doing. So just try to stay true to my values, try to stay true to who I am as a coach and what I thought. And I think the last thing, and I'll put a bow on that, Eric, is that, before I came here, I had a plan of what I wanted to do. And that didn't have anything to do with the transfer portal. It didn't have anything to do with anything other than the values and the pillars of the program of what I thought was going to be successful. And so no matter what has come our way, whether that's a win, a loss, a portal, an NIL, those values and those principles still didn't leave. And so we had a plan, we worked our plan, and then we've had to adjust our plan. But I don't think that if you don't have a plan to begin with, then you're just aimlessly flying around and patching holes, and that's just a scary way to go about it. So I think we've been very strategic, very intentional. It's worked, and I'm excited to build on it. We've accounted for 66% of our championships in our history of our school. If we can somehow win one more or get greedy and win another one, we can get 4 out of 5 total in our school history. I'm not very smart, but you're talking 80% of your school's championships, and you're really talking about leaving a legacy. And so there's big personal individual goals that I still have for myself and our team, and it keeps you hungry, it keeps you going, and it's exciting. And again, long-winded answer, but it's good to feel good with good people at a good place, good families, and a good staff. So we'll just keep plugging away and keep doing our best to represent us the right kind of way.
Reigning OVC Coach of the Year, Brad Korn, our guest this morning on the Sports Huddle. He's on the EBOMD Huddle Hotline. So it's an NCAA tournament trip, the first in 23 years. And then you lose your top players. The following year, it's a 10th place finish. It is missing the OVC tournament. And then all of a sudden, after that disappointment, you win a regular season championship, just the second in program history, 21 wins following the 10th place finish, an increase of 12 victories, the biggest one-year turnaround in program history. As you look back on that now, what were the biggest factors in you going from a team that missed the tournament to regular season champion?
I think the biggest thing, and I don't want to gloss over or try to duck that we didn't have a great year the year after the tournament, but we did have 2 starters not play the whole entire season, Kobe Clark and Dylan Branson. So, you take 2 starters out for a whole year off of an OVC team, there's going to be some dip there. And then we brought in young people behind those guys in that same class. And so we had a bunch of freshmen. Just did not work that way. I truly feel that if Kobe Clark stays healthy, Dylan Branson stays healthy, I think we're a 500 team at worst. And so I don't think there would have been that big of a disparity in the win-loss column. But licked our wounds. We did a great job. Staff did a great job. We brought in 6 junior college guys, I think, that following class. And then we got Teddy Washington out of the portal. And we knew we needed some scoring and kind of a go-to guy. And then also, too, Eric, I think the thing that we've done a great job here is develop guys. Braxton Stacker took a step, shot 42% from 3. Rob Martin you made the argument in one of the coaches' shows, could have been player of the year. And the year prior, he was a starting point guard on a 9-22 team, and weren't quite sure if he's, going to kind of be the guy. The emergence of B.J. Ward from freshman year to sophomore year. So we did a good job of developing guys, identifying the guys that fit what we were trying to do. Brendan Terry, you get him as a second-team All-League big guy out of junior college from Florida by way of California. So there's a lot of guys out there, and I think we did a nice job of identifying what was going to fit us. We knew what didn't work, stuck true to who we were, and then had the season that we had. And, I hear people ask me all the time, you were 10-10. How'd you go from 10-10 to 21 and whatever we ended up being? It's just, one, obviously we didn't lose for the whole month of February, which is incredible. But we were always kind of we were a pretty good team. Braxton Stacker and Marquez Bell missed games early in the season. Stack didn't play the first 6-7 games of the season. So by the time we got our whole team together, we were a pretty good team. And then our non-conference record, for all things that it may or may not be 7-2 or 8-1. You're going to unfortunately maybe have some losses in there. So we were finding our way, putting the whole thing together, and then we just kept getting better every single day. And that team practiced hard. They made each other better. They were a true joy to coach. And again, I'm not trying to make light of bad things, and I shouldn't say bad, but not getting to the NCAA tournament in March Madness was definitely disappointing. But I will tell you, Eric, that winning a regular season championship in a 20-game conference schedule, a true round robin, and to win by 2 games, to me, that was one of the, if it's not the best, it's the second best professional moment of my career. So, and I know it doesn't get as much credence as it probably should because of March Madness, and I understand that. But I don't, and this may sound crazy, if that's the reason that, quote unquote, we're still here, so be it. We'll do it again next year. But I'll be honest with you, if you told me before the year, hey, would you take the NCAA tournament or the regular season championship? I'm going to take the regular season championship every day of the week, just because it's a 20-game, it's a true gauntlet, it's a true champion, and I'm not taking anything away from SIUE. I feel the same way when we won the league or the tournament in 23. Moorhead won the conference that year. They were the conference champion. And so it's just I think that's just as a coach and as a basketball purist, that's the pinnacle. There's nothing harder to do in college basketball than win your conference, and then to win your conference outright by 2 games. So I try to focus more on that than the 10-minute letdown that we had in that championship game, because anything can happen in those games, and credit to SIU for winning that game. And, it's kind of how sport goes.
Coach Brad Korn joining us here on the Sports Huddle this morning. We are in the Yuengling Sports Huddle studios. Yuengling, the iconic American lager, America's oldest brewery. Coach, you lose your top 2 scorers from last year's team, and that is obviously Rob Martin and Teddy Washington. So it's Rob Martin going to get $350,000, the report, in terms of NIL money. After that happened and SEMO was unable to put a package together to keep Rob Martin, did you hear from any boosters that said, you know what, I hate this story, I got to get more involved, and I've got to be one of your bigger supporters in terms of the NIL? How is that going?
We've continued to increase the educational piece of it. We have had people step up and help us out once they understand. I think more than anything, Eric, it is truly the educational piece of what all that means, and understanding who and what we are. Meaning, I'm super proud and happy for Rob that he was able to if those reports are true and if that's what he got, great. That is great for him. It stings, and it stinks a little bit for us, of course, because we put the time and the development in and we're left with nothing. And I think that hopefully has got to change down the line if we're going to continue with this model that we're in. But we're never going to be in a situation where we put together a $150,000, $250,000 package for one player anyway. So I don't really hold much value in that. There are certain things I think that we can do to help our players and help them financially with paying some rent, getting some groceries, if they need to lease on a car, what have you. But I don't know that we're ever going to be in that situation to where we are just a team out here just buying players, so to speak. I just don't think that's the right model for us. I don't know if that's the right model for me as a coach at SEMO. So I don't know exactly where that leads. To answer your question, we have amazing people in this community that always are trying to help us. And help comes in a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to just come in a financial. Some people have that capability, of course, and the people that do have helped. And but help can come in a lot of different areas as well. So there's a lot of ways that we can help, a lot of things that we can do. But there's that old saying too, Eric. You've probably been around me long enough to know I love sayings and quotes and things like that. But money's not going to. All money isn't good money, and I think, again, going back to our players' parents and families, they're really grounded and understand that the value that we can provide them can almost be priceless, in a sense that the joy that you have for the game, the love that you have, the way that you get coached here, the way that you can develop here for a short amount of time. because we all only have these finite amounts of time, whether that's portal, whether that's NIL. This next year's team, the 25-26 team, is only going to be together for 10 months. And so I think the more that we can kind of embrace that and embrace the moment, then we can fall in love with those 10 months. And then what happens after that happens, and then we just got to pick up and move on. So it's just how it goes. But I think there's a lot of ways that the community has really, really helped. And we keep going back to the same people for help, and people keep showing up to help, because I think people around here, they understand, they want to help, but it looks a lot different for a lot of different people. And I sympathize and I understand with that, and I understand that. So it's finding that balance. But I think more than anything, Eric, it's an educational piece of, hey, if I were to help you guys financially, what does that look like? And so for us, it's explaining what that looks like and how we could use those funds and how we can help our players have a better quality of a life here on campus, as opposed to just, quote unquote, paying for a player.
Coach Brad Korn joining us here on the Sports Huddle. Coach, before we talk about some of the new players that you have brought in, the way that it goes now in college athletics, yes, you have to recruit players outside your program. Man, you got to recruit players inside your program. I think one of the biggest stories in the offseason is that you were able to keep Brendan Terry for another year.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing. I mean, again, like I said, we're doing a great job. The staff does a great job. And again, this is about the third or fourth time you've heard me say it, Eric. The parents, like Brendan Terry's parents, Braxton Stacker's family, B.J. Ward's family, Marquez Bell's family. The list goes on and on. Even the new guys we brought in. The parents are just so good. They're grounded, and they appreciate what we do. So Brendan probably could have gone in. Probably could have gone to the portal and got something, Eric, if we're being quite honest. I mean, second-team all-league, big guy. But, again, Brendan is smart enough. His people are smart enough. Here's a kid that, again, going back to recruiting, there's a lot of clues how people go about their business. He's from California. He goes to junior college in Florida. He didn't transfer from the junior college in Florida after his first year. Now, how many kids in this era, this day and age, would have gone from California to Florida and went back to Florida? So, again, we get him out of the portal. He had some people recruit him, but his recruitment wasn't heavy. He comes here. He has success. We use him in a way that fits his game. He understands that. He appreciates that, and he decides to come back and have a great year. Because, again, all these kids, too, have a dream to play in the NCAA tournament. And I think that's a real possibility here, and they got a taste of that. So Braxton Stacker, another example. He goes to Murray out of high school, doesn't have a great year, doesn't play. Then you start to question whether or not, do I really even love basketball anymore? Then he comes here, and he's close to home, and he's able to play and develop and has a true joy for playing. And so now he's got that itch, that burn to get better every single day, to get in the gym, and now potentially go play professional basketball and get his degree from Southeast. So we got lucky in a sense, Eric, with great people, great families, and that they wanted to come back. But I think you also make your own luck, and I think our staff and our environment and atmosphere that we have here helps create some of that luck.
So Landon Blocker is one of your transfers from Louisiana Tech. Coach, the reports are his athleticism is off the charts. I know you had told me a couple of years ago Braxton Stacker is the most athletic player I have ever coached. Is Landon Blocker in that same category?
Yeah, the cool thing about this next year's team, Eric, every year is different. Every team's different. But this year with Landon and even one of the newer guys too, Luke and Stack, Troy Cole, this is the most athletic we've been since I've been here. Braxton Stacker is now about maybe the second or third most athletic guy on our team. So Luke Almodovar, he'll surprise you. Obviously, Braxton is a great athlete. Troy Cole in transition. We've had some very impressive transition finishes so far this year. But Landon Block, as we call him, Orlando, you'll hear him be called Lando or Block. It just comes from a basketball family. His older brother is at DePaul right now, player at DePaul. So he played AAU basketball with B.J. Ward. He knows Stack. So there's some familiarity there with the family. And a very similar situation to Braxton, coming out of Murray. Just, Lando went down to La Tech and played maybe as much as he wanted to. It's just hard as a freshman, You know, it's really hard as a freshman to get on the floor and play. So I think we're going to be able to mold and shape him. Starts knocking down some outside shots. You're going to have a true threat on both sides of the ball. But Lando is extremely athletic, and he is now one of the most athletic players I've ever coached, and if not the most.
Boy, if you just look at your track record, you and your coaching staff, out of the portal for guys that are coming from other D1 programs, Rob Martin was outstanding. Braxton Stacker coming out of the portal, Teddy Washington. Your portal track record to this point, Coach, you got to like it.
Yeah. It's we've done it. I think we've done a very good job of selecting. You know, this recruiting cycle. Things go in different cycles now. There was one year that we didn't take any high school kids. This year we took the 2 freshmen from Sykeston, and they're very good players, but they are at positions that you got to have in your program. Trey Sadler as a center, and then P.J. Farmer as a point guard. So, we didn't take any junior college guys, though, this year. The year prior, we took 6. And so it kind of just changes and morphs, and I think the more organized you are and the more that you have a plan for what you're trying to do, we knew we needed scoring. You know, we needed a go-to guy after losing Phil the year prior and Chris Harris, OVC MVP, and that's where Teddy came in. Better players help me be a better coach, obviously. I can't draw the ball into the basket all the time. So being very strategic and having a plan in our recruiting process has paid dividends. And I think that is the one, as much as the portal takes away, you can also get it back, as you said, and we've done a nice job. And it just makes our job a little bit, I don't want to say harder, Eric, but more complicated because, again, there is a little bit of fear that you might not know exactly what you're getting, to where if a guy were to come back, like if Rob were to come back, obviously, you know exactly what you're getting and the weaknesses that you need to improve on from year to year. So, again, getting a guy out of the portal, it's a little bit of a risk because you just don't know everything that's there. But, again, the staff has done a great job of identifying those guys that fit us. And that's the thing. I don't have to keep telling people staff members or training new people for the last couple of years. We've had some continuity. LaDon Chapman's been with me now going into his 5th year. J.R. Reynolds, our associate head coach, is going into his 4th year with me. So, when you have 2 guys like that there's that continuity in the recruiting and in the office and on the court, it helps everything. And the players and the families get to identify with somebody as well. So we've been very, very fortunate, Eric, in that regard.
So I want to ask you, we haven't had a chance to talk about Luke Almodovar, who is an NAIA player. Now, we can just go back and see the track record for a very high-level OVC school, Morehead State, in bringing in NAIA guys, impact NAIA guys. Does Luke Almodovar have the potential to be an impact guy, Coach, because the shooting numbers were outstanding at St. Francis University, which is in Indiana. Not only did he hit 67 threes, but he hit them at almost a 42% clip.
Yeah, Luke is going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's going to become a fan favorite. He can shoot the basketball. He's a lefty. He is a sneaky athlete. He's going to catch some people. We got very, very fortunate. Coach Strom did a great job. He knows the NAIA world. That's where he came from Huntington. So he knew that world well. He did a great job of identifying him early in the process. Luke, he has great bloodline.
Umpires can get caught.
His father is Puerto Rican and played for the Puerto Rican national volleyball team. His sister went to Dayton and played volleyball and was the A-10 player of the year at Dayton a year ago. So he has great bloodlines. And coming from the I got a little joke with him because he's coming from the Crossroads Conference. That's the conference that St. Francis is in. It's like, hey, you're going from the Crossroads to the Crosshairs now. So we got to get his defense up a little bit because he's not used to guarding a Braxton Stacker or a B.J. Ward or guys like that on the perimeter every single possession. So once he gets acclimated to the speed of everyone being like him, I think he's got real potential, Eric. If he's who I think he can be, he's going to be a fan favorite and a nightmare for some of the OVC teams to deal with.
Okay, Rob Martin is not in a Red Hawk uniform anymore. B.J. Ward is. Is B.J. the starting point guard, and he deferred a lot last year to Rob Martin? Is B.J. Ward a guy that you're going to ask to score a little more this year?
Yeah, and really, too, I think the thing of it is like BJ is such a different type of a point guard. BJ is a true point guard. Rob was more of a scoring point guard, if you will. Rob would almost pass more out of not being able to shoot as opposed to reading the layers behind the defense. So BJ's more of a read the defense point guard. That doesn't mean he can't score. It just means he's obviously taller, he's obviously stronger, bigger. He may not be as quick as Rob was, but he's a different type of a point guard. Super high IQ. B.J. Ward has continually made progress. You look at what he did from his freshman to a sophomore. If he can have that same kind of ascension, which he has shown so far this summer, he's going to have a great year. That point guard position is so critical, and it's beautiful to have P.J. coming on the backside of B.J. Because P.J. Farmer also is a true point guard. Tough. Both those guys are tough. They're strong. We're going to be able to play a little bit different, Eric. In the past, from Phil to Rob, we've been pretty little. We've done well with that. BJ's not little, so there's going to be some things that we can do, put some people in some compromising situations from that position that we haven't been able to do in the past. Rob couldn't take the ball out for us, just being completely honest, last year on BOB. So on baseline out of bounds, BJ Ward, BJ, we're not going to have to change much and try to piecemeal things. Defensively, obviously, BJ was a menace for us and was our defensive stopper guy. And then when the game got on the line, Teddy joined that fray. So there's going to be a lot thrown on BJ, and he's taken on that role. And we're just really pleased with the attention to detail and the discipline and the work that he's putting in, because I think a lot's going to be thrown on him, and I think he's ready for it. And it fits out nicely to have 7 seniors, 9 returners, and we can just hit the ground running with a point guard like BJ.
Coach Brad Korn joining us here on the Sports Huddle. I wanted to ask you about P.J. Farmer. Does he have the potential, Coach, to see significant minutes this year as a freshman?
Yeah, and I guess we would have to define what significant means, of course, but I fully expect him to play. And it doesn't matter if you're P.J. Farmer, if you're B.J. Ward, there's never going to be enough minutes to play unless you're playing all 40. So, again, it's hard as a freshman. He's figuring that out now. I really love what P.J. brings. He's tough. He makes great passes as a freshman. Eric, our practices are not easy. Again, we have older guys. There's a lot of athleticism, as we talked about. To come in as a freshman and make some of the plays and passes that he does is pretty impressive. High IQ kid, tough, goes hard, he's strong. There's a really bright future for him. But again, it's going to be hard as a freshman once the totality of 130 practices, 30 games. That's going to be the hardest part for him to get through. And once him and Trace get on the other side of that, man, I think there's going to be just an extremely bright future for those guys. So I fully expect him to play. We didn't take another point guard in the recruiting cycle. It's BJ and PJ. And the reason we didn't do that was because we felt strongly about PJ being able to help us. So again, just like anybody, what does that mean? I don't know. Going into the year, I didn't know that Teddy Washington was going to be an all-league guy. I thought BJ was going to maybe be Rob's backup, and then he played so well that he had to be a starting 2 guard, even though he maybe was a point guard. So the way that we play, it helps. He doesn't have to just be pigeonholed into one spot. The thing that he's got to do is dominate simple, take care of the basketball, defend his position, and he's done that so far. So really excited about PJ and the future of what he can do for our program.
And, Coach, for the first time in his life, freshman Trace Sadler is not the tallest player on his team. He's got 2 other guys in David Idata and Elliott Lowndes, so you still continue to hog all the 7-footers in college basketball. But how about Trace Sadler? I know people, everybody is fascinated with guys that are 7 feet tall.
Yeah, Trace is the way that he can move and the things that he can do at his size, you don't see very often. We got lucky that he's from the Boot Heel and appreciated SEMO and wanted to be here. We got lucky with both those guys that they're coached by Hall of Fame Coach Hollifield. So they come from winning. They're tough. They play hard. They're great kids, great families again. So I'm excited about the future of Trace. Again, he came into a great situation as well. Going back to what I said about our recruiting and having a plan for it, he gets to get, for all things that David Idata might not be, one thing he isn't is soft, and Trace gets, for the first 4 weeks of the summer, he has been getting pounded down there by Dave, and it's just a great teacher. The only way to get better is is to see it and sit in it every single day. So the physicality has been hard. He hasn't seen guys like David's size and strength. BT is a second-team all-league guy, so he's facing, and he's out on the perimeter dribbling the basketball. So Trace is seeing a lot of different things that he may not have seen, and those guys are older. You know, Elliott Lowndes, he thinks he's got an angle, and there's a 7-footer challenging his shot at the rim. So he's getting a lot of different looks, and at his position in practices, that it's going to pay just huge dividends for him because, again, you're losing Brendan Ferry, David Idata, and Elliott Lowndes as seniors probably after this next year. So, you know, you learn as a freshman, you grow, and then now it's your turn to step in to a bigger role after that. So with his size and speed, athleticism, the things that he does, man, I'm excited about Trace because there's not many guys his size that can do the things that he can do.
All right, Coach, can you give us a little preview of what we may see on the schedule? I'm sure it's not finalized yet, but at this stage, I would think you're getting close. What tournament are you going to play in? Is SIU on the schedule this upcoming season? And who might the money games be? We do know SLU released some information earlier. We do know you're playing at St. Louis.
Yeah, so the first week is kind of a great week for the state, for our fans, and we're at SLU to open on the 3rd, I believe is that Monday. And then we're actually at Missouri on the 7th, that Friday. So the first week of the basketball season will be at SLU, at Mizzou. So it's kind of exciting. Appreciate those programs playing us and helping us out because, again, there's certain things that we have to do, and that's easy travel and just great regional games for us. So those are two exciting games. We have Lipscomb coming back to our place at home. And I know people don't like them. I don't necessarily like them either, Eric, but we'll have the non-Division I games, and those will get sprinkled in wherever it fits best and whenever we have the Show Me Center. We're still looking to add one more home game, and we still need to add one more road game. We'll be at Chattanooga, so we'll get to face Teddy Washington, which is kind of unique. And I believe we do not have our tournament set up just yet. Scheduling, going back to what you were talking about earlier, Eric, with the portal and NIL and all this other stuff, scheduling this year has probably been the hardest it's ever been since I've been here, just because it keeps getting pushed back further and further and further because the recruiting and the roster management has been pushed back further and further. So it's a little bit of a challenge right now. We're close on some games. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger and getting it done. I just try to be as strategic as possible, but not trying to have paralysis by analysis at the same time. So we're close. Look to hope to get it done, but I think that's pretty exciting. The first week of the season, we get to go at SLU, at Mizzou.
So what are the chances that the tournament that you play in that we're going somewhere warm?
Well, there is potential. I believe in 2017 we went to Cancun.
That's correct.
So that's been floated out there a little bit. We got to make dollars make sense on something like that. But that is the only warm weather destination. There could be some scenic destinations. We may be able to get out into Denver and see some mountains and things of that nature. But somewhere warm. There's really only thing on the table right now is maybe going back to that Cancun challenge, but I don't know if that makes financial sense for the Red Hawks as it sits right now. But the scheduling has been brutal this year, and there's going to be some people panicking here or maybe dropping their guard down a little bit here in the next few weeks. So we'll see where that all leads, but we're trying to get that done as quick as possible just because we still have some holes, but I think everybody's kind of in that same spot right now, just trying to find some games. And it's all the same people talking about the same type of dates and games. So I think in the next couple of weeks we could probably get pretty close to getting it done on paper. And then once the contracts get signed, get that thing released. Yeah,
we need to make that Cancun thing makes financial sense. So it sounds like your alma mater still won't play you.
The last degree I have, Eric, is from Missouri State, and we tried to play. We did try to play Missouri State, but their schedule was done. But yeah, SIU, I think they would play us, Eric. But where we're at right now in our schedule, what they have to offer and what we need, it's not really matching up right now. So we're talking to them. We're trying to play that game. Obviously, it makes sense. And I don't think they're not. It's not a situation where they're ducking us or not wanting to play us. So it's not one of those situations. But there's certain things that we have to do, certain things we got to make sense for us, and we can't just go play them just to play them to give up a home game for us either. So, kind of in one of those weird situations, and we're trying to make it make sense. They've been talking to us, but it's got to. First and foremost, I have to make sure we do what's best for SEMO, and right now it's not looking like that it's going to happen, but things, like I said, things could change here in the next couple weeks.
I know that would make a lot of Red Hawk fans happy if it's Red Hawks and Salukis. Coach, we appreciate so much you giving us some time. Congratulations on the contract extension, and the season will be fast approaching, and we will certainly catch up with you in the near future. Hope you enjoy your summer, and again, congrats on the contract.
You got it, Eric. Thank you very much.
All right, that is the Red Hawks head coach, Brad Korn. All right, that's going to do it for us this week. We are headed out here pretty quick to head down to Columbia, Tennessee. The Fighting Squirrels are going to be playing in a tournament there, so we'll be pulling out here shortly, and they've got 2 games tomorrow, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then I think they play at 10 and 2 on Saturday. So 4 games in Columbia, Tennessee. They play that tournament at 2 different locations, including Columbia State Community College, and Squirrels will play all 4 of their games there. They've got a nice little facility, nice press box there. So that's where we will be this weekend, and we were not going to have a show tomorrow anyway because it is the 4th of July, and of course that's a holiday, and we hope that you enjoy your holiday. Hello to the lovely and talented Dawn Shawn. She is sitting in this studio. Dawn Shawn, pull that microphone over toward you. All right, she's pulling it very slowly. Very, very slowly. All right. You coming off a 12-hour shift. Is it hard for you not to nod off over there as we're talking Red Hawk basketball?
Well, I think I have been nodding off just a smidge.
Okay. I didn't see drastic head bobs over there. That's usually.
There's this paper in front of me, so I kind of ducked behind that paper.
I got you. All right. Okay. Well, we just dropped our car off to get the oil changed, so we are headed there. And have you decided where you want to have lunch?
Not Red Lobster.
Oh, see, now that's always my choice. I want to go to Red Lobster, but you're poo-pooing the Red Lobster.
I am. I was thinking some pho today, maybe.
All right. Pho 8. That may be in our future. All right. And we hope you have a wonderful day. We like to say hello to you in the mornings.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's nice to be thought of.
All right. The Radiant and Ravishing. Stay tuned. We've got Clinton and Friends coming up. We'll be back on Monday. Hope you have a wonderful Independence Day holiday, everybody.